Alright, in this part we're going to take a look at what we can do with the open spaces that we have here. So we have two choices. We can make the windows that go into them, or we can download them as components, and we're going to look at both. First, let's look at making our own components. Now, of course, this is something that is going to take a little bit of work and time, so I'm going to just kind of play as I do this because it's not the easiest thing, of course, to create these objects. But one thing that you might want to consider is starting off by drawing this object away from the original. So I'm going to go ahead and select the outside parts of a window just so I can get a profile that I want. And I'm going to copy and paste this away from the window. So do Control C, click on it, and then go ahead and move it out. And let's see, I need the red axis to kind of move it away from the original building. That way I'm not creating it on top of it. Now this is the exact same width on the inside, so it's not bad for us to keep that same width. That way we'll know that it will snap right in place, so that we can use that later. Now we're going to go ahead and extrude this out, or rather we're going to copy this thing out. Now one way to extrude it is actually maybe to even just draw over it one time, and if we draw one hole there or one line, it will actually fill that. So now we can extrude this thing out the way that we are used to extruding other things. So there, I'll extrude that out. I'm going to actually make it a little bit wider than a typical wall. That way it can be inset into that wall a little bit, but it's the same width. Now let's take a look at what we can do on the inside. I'm going to go ahead and inset just a little bit. So I'm going to inset, so there's the window frame. Now we can extrude that through, so I'll go ahead and make sure I'm clicking on the right thing. Extrude that through. Then we can look at maybe doing some other things on the inside. Let's see, that's the midpoint. So that midpoint can go up. I wonder if I can get the midpoint there. That'd be kind of cool. There's a midpoint there. There's the midpoint. I'll make that go across the other midpoint. Alright, so there's something for us to start. I'm going to go ahead and take that in just a little bit. That will come in that way. This one will come in the same. There we go. Now the nice thing about this is that I've actually got my two panes here, which work pretty well, but you'll notice that these two are not exactly the same. So we're going to have to adjust that for sure. I can delete that. Looks like it deleted it on both sides, so that works pretty well. And I'm going to just bring that up a little bit. Bring that up a little bit with maybe the black arrow. Bring that down just a little bit. Hold down the black arrow. It looks like that's about right now. Now I can extrude these out just a little bit that way. You'll notice that it did extrude that out a little funky on there. It didn't extrude both sides, which is kind of too bad. So I'm going to extrude out that way a little. And I'm not going to worry about it. Ooh, look at that. I might have to hold down the control key when I extrude out. That way we'll actually get it to extend out. There we go. That's extended out. That's extended out a little bit. Need to get out so I can see through there. There we go. Move over, move over. There we go. This is why it's sometimes nice to turn off other layers. Alright, so there's basic window that I've just created. It's really simple, but it works. Now, to make this a component, we want to triple click on it, right click, and choose Make Component, and call this Window 1. Now, that window can fit where it needs to just by selecting the Move tool. We can click on one of those points and move it right to where we want. You'll notice it's going all the way through that building. Right now it's flush, and it's actually not a bad idea for us to bring it out just a little bit. So I'm going to just extend it out a tiny bit. That way it's about equidistant on both sides. That way it's kind of a nice window. And of course, if we want to duplicate this, we can Control C, click on it, and move it straight across. There we go. Looks like I was able to move that straight across. Now, of course, we might need to edit this component to add some colors and stuff to it. So let's take a look at the other components that are in here first, and you'll see what other windows look like. If I go to the Window menu, Window Components, let's look for the ones that are in our model currently, and we have the Window 1 that we've created. Now, we can also go to Windows and just search for something, and you'll see that we can find windows all over the place. So here's a really nice window that I might be able to apply, and let's just take a look. If I just pull it in and grab it, I can pretty much just pull it right into my scene very, very easily. And this component already has all the materials and everything else on it. Now, it's not perfect for the size, but I can always go to the scale key and scale it down to fit. And I can fit that window in there pretty well. Looks like this window is just a little bit short, so I'm going to extend it out just a tiny bit so it extends out just like the others, like the windows that I made. So there is a nice window kind of going in the place where it should go. And of course, now you'll notice it has translucent materials. So that's what we're going to be doing in the next assignment, is actually applying the materials to all the different objects. To begin, though, we can just take a look at these windows. All we have to do is go into the component itself, and then go to the materials, and then choose what we need, such as translucent glass, and then apply that glass to our objects. There we go. And then, of course, we can give the other materials that we need to the other windows, and we've got our transparent windows with everything that we need. We've got our own custom built component, Window 1, but we've also found some windows online, and I encourage you to go out and take a look at what's there, but I do want to see you create one of your own components. It's not the easiest thing, but it is something that I think is really important. Now, you also need to find maybe components for doors and maybe closet doors. There are all sorts of things that you can find for components. You can even apply things like the rugs and the living room furniture and all sorts of things as those particular components. So don't be afraid to use them quite a lot in your scene. And in the next one, we're going to take a look at giving some materials to objects. All right, go on.